we are in technical session 2, which is titled as Policies for the Management and Natural Resources to Achieve SDGs and Climate Change. So as the theme of this technical session 2 says, that the management of the natural resources are essential to achieve the sustainable development goals and challenges. And we all are aware of the challenges that are there in place. So we'll listen to the presenters. We have 10 minutes for all the for each papers. However, some of the presenters are not here, so we can utilize that time to discuss about our papers. And so the first presenter is, we have Prakash Chandra Das ji. So he is working at Javier Institute of Social Sciences, Ranchi, and he has a paper titled Governance Challenges in Addressing Fluoride Contamination in Groundwater Used for Drinking Purpose, a case study of Pratapur, Vijay, Jharkhand. So I request him to, and he has another paper, so he'll present later. His co-author is not present, so Patatri Vaidhyasi is not here, I think. So he'll present first his paper, and so we'll take 8 minutes, around 8 minutes. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, the chair, the panelists, my co-presenters. The first paper is Governance Challenges in Addressing Fluoride Contamination in Groundwater, a case study of Pratapur in Jharkhand. This is actually the work of one of our students, but then and he was made the first author, but then he could not come due to he joined a new company, and then they are not allowing him leave. So on behalf of Mr. Neeraj Kumar, I'll be presenting the paper. So first go to the. So the introduction is like in 2012, 60 people died in this particular village because of fluoride contamination, and that drew media attention like anything. And this is not a small number. In a small village, 60 people died in all of a sudden. So it attracted a lot of media coverage and hue and cry. So we thought of making a study of this particular, what was the kind of intervention that was taken by the government, and whether that particular function, it is still functional or not, and what are the challenges that is being faced by the kind of intervention that was introduced in the village to tackle the problem. So this particular village is in Garhwa district in Jharkhand, and mostly the diseases is manifested in the form of tooth decay, skeletal fluorosis, bone damages, and stomach-related tissues. So this is what actually were reported by the villages, and then it aggravated, and I will tell you about the level of contamination that occurred, that was found later on. Governance is at the root cause behind all these water-related problems we have found, and paucity of the study on groundwater quality governance in Indian context. So many of the so this is the WHO standard says that 1.5 milligram per liter or 1.5 ppm. If I convert that into both the numerator and denominator in the same unit, it becomes 1.5 ppm. That is the tolerable limit. And this particular village, if you see, Mohan Ram, the community's leader, said that recently means in 2022-21, they made their water tested from the agency, and they found it to be 7.5. 7.5 is huge actually. It is too high. So, but not all the water samples were of that high concentration. But this was also the level of concentration that was found in this particular village. Literature review basically focused on, there was a lot of literature review that which were conducted, but then I'll just share a glimpse of some of them that we did. One particular study by Sekhar found in Garhwa, many of the areas were contaminated with fluoride. Then some other group of studies, they focused on importance of governance. One particular to mention is Peter Glick's study, and then Kaysar et al. Also they have made a study of water quality provision can be improved by addressing certain governance challenges. Statement of the problem: we need to evaluate the effectiveness of governance mechanism for managing drinking water quality at various administrative levels of Garhwa. The study objectives were, these are the two objectives with which we started. evaluation of the current state of groundwater quality in Pratapur, and the second one is assessing the governance mechanism concerning the quality of groundwater, drinking water. So this is Pratapur village. Number of houses are something like 559, and population is 2,765. This is where it is located. So I'll just quickly go to the objective-wise methodology. So the groundwater quality assessment were basically done with the phase of secondary data collected from the PHED department and from CGWP published sources. And for governance assessment, we use the OECD framework, where we use mixed method of research. Household were interviewed, FGD were conducted with the stakeholders, and some key informants also were interviewed. So these are some of the findings to bring your attention and sharing. So here you can see that this is prior to treatment and after treatment. So what the government did after this particular incident, the government installed a EDF plant in the locality, and some of the people also have their own RO system. So before treatment and after treatment, these are the kind of level that is found, and we have to keep in mind the WHO permitted limit is 1.5 ppm. So here it is mostly in these are some of the villages. Their water samples were actually examined, and in most of the cases the untreated water is far above the permissible limit. Now, do they treat the water before consumption? So 41% of them say that they do treat. That leaves around 60% of them using untreated water. So they are exposed to all the ill effects of fluoride contamination. And this 41% also is this particular EDF plant which was functioning, so they was considered. And there are some bogus kind of treatment methods that is being pushed in this particular village. So only 7% of them are actually using RO, which is actually the right way to treat it, at the household level. So only 7% are actually getting treated water, and rest of them, since the EDF plant that was installed in this particular village is no more functional. In 2019 they installed it. After 1.5 years of functioning, it is just it went out of order, and then people are all using untreated water.
What
So
is this EDF plant?
This is electro deep fluoridation mechanism.
This was installed by
The government PhD department. So this 48% surveyed use pipe water supply. So now, what are the other kind of intervention that was introduced? People were earlier depending on the borewell based system. Now that is completely contaminated. So multi-village schemes was provided by the Drinking Water Supply Department, DWSD, wherein they are sourcing this water from a nearby river, and that is being supplied. But that too is only supplying 48% of the households. So more than 50%, more than half of the villages are still using untreated water or borewell or open well. Strangely, many of the fluoride contamination occurs at a very deeper level. But in this particular village, water contamination has been found in wells which is up to 100 feet also. So many of the open wells are also not free of contamination. So that is the gravity of the problem. So this is what I was telling you. 7% are using this RO system. So 93% of them are actually facing groundwater contamination. Then and then these are the kind of health impacts that people are facing. 89% of them reported all these kind of ailments, that is mostly due to chloride. And part of this, we have not verified. It is not a medical study. It is a perception-based study. So part of this may be due to some other underlying factors. But then mostly these are the complaints that is usually associated with the chloride contamination. Then we use this 6 indicator framework given by OECD, which are existence and level of implementation of water quality regulations, public awareness, and then monitoring and data collection mechanism, capacity development, then equity and access to safe water. These are the 6 broad indicators. Actually, OECD has come up with a 12 indicators study also, wherein they use each of these 12 is again divided into 3 sub indicators, and that is what is basically used. So our findings on these 6 governance principles are as follows. So existence and level of implementation of water quality regulation. So regulatory presence is there, but then it is weakly implemented. So some of the provision is there with the CJWB guidelines, with the PhD guidelines, but then on the ground we didn't find much of that really existing. Product contamination, the problem is still unaddressed. As I told, the EDF is not functional since 2020. So people are, even though on government records they provided it, it is no more functional. So people are getting, completely contaminated water. Then limited local capacity, even for basic test, whether it is contaminated or not. I will not be able to know what is the level of concentration, but whether it is contaminated or not. So for that there is a particular field testing kit that is supplied. That is also not there. So people are completely unaware of whether they are getting contaminated water or treated water with things like that. So this is the kind of governance that is found, and it obviously the adverse health impact is still going on. Then the second one is public awareness and stakeholder engagements. What we found is basic awareness exists. Most of the villagers say that the problems are coming, and it is obvious that they are facing so many kind of health implications, and after the media attention and everything, they all know that the contamination is there, but they don't have any choice. Say they don't have any alternative water sources, so they're actually drinking the contaminated water. Limited outreach because of some awareness campaign were conducted by local NGOs and health authorities, but then it didn't reach the total audience because it was also kind of cosmetic in its disbursement. Then weak community engagement, stakeholder involvement is almost sporadic. Platforms for public participation in water decisions are lacking. So what actually does happen here is that somehow because of this media attention and media hue and cry, the government had to come and they just installed an EDF plant there. Apart from that, there is no consultation with the people, where is what is happening, how to manage this and all this kind of stuff. So I'll come to the other indicators which will give us an idea about this also. Then public awareness and stakeholder engagement. So yeah, this is what I have. So and need for empowerment beyond information, communities need actionable solutions and voice in water governance, which is not there. Then the third one is monitoring and data collection mechanism. Inconsistent monitoring, groundwater testing is conducted, but frequency and reliability remain inadequate. The water samples get collected, but whether that is getting tested or not, nobody knows, because the local block level office doesn't have the lab to test it. It is all sent to the say Ranchi headquarters, but then whether they test it or not, nobody knows, because that is never shared with the local authorities, neither with the people. Poor data transparency, as I already told you, test results are not regularly shared with the public, limiting community trust and awareness. Weak methodologies, existing data collection methods need improvement for accuracy and timely chloride level assessment. This is very crucial, because what is the frequency or what is the level, which month it is increasing, which month it is, because these are temporal, changes are also usually seen in this contamination. So one-time solution is not the answer. Need for open communication, transparent and accessible data sharing systems are essential for informed and accountable water governance. The capacity development of water management, local officials and community members receive little to no training on managing fluoride contamination. So they don't have any idea. Even the Jal Sahiya, there is a particular concept in Jharkhand which is a very innovative concept called as Jal Sahiya. So Sahiya is the local Anganwadi worker in villages. Here, for managing the water and sanitation issues, they are the government has appointed local, the village level worker, usually female of the house of the village, as the Jal Sahiya, and they also don't have this, or no, even the pump operator, is not trained on this. So nobody is trained basically from the village level. So that is this issue. The institutional gaps, PhD and the state programs have not adequately included fluoride management in their capacity building effort. So they do come to the state head office or to the district level office for various kind of orientation, various kind of training. But in most of the trainings, as per our interactions with the local level, local civil government, officials as well as other actors, they have not been trained on fluoride contamination. So that is somehow it is missing, even though the problem is very acute. Technical knowledge, absence of training on deep fluoridation and alternative water sources hinders effective response. Sustainability is at risk without local skills critical, expensive infrastructure like the EDF plant remains underutilized. To give you an idea about what is the cost of this EDF plant, it is not a very cheaper kind of machine that can be installed at any point of time. So, for example, 200 liter per hour kind of that also costs something like 2 lakhs rupees. And if we look at the number of people living in this particular village and the best functional state when this machine was there, at that time also 1500 people only access this, the water from this. So if I go by the national guidelines of 80 LPCD, 80 liter per capita per day, then also it comes to something like 1 lakh liters. So that much of water is to be treated. So they install a big plant and is multi lakh up to 1 crore rupees they spend, but without any training, without any mechanism to complain whether it is working or not, it is all gone waste. It may be getting fixed, but then since 2020, we are in 2020, the study was conducted last year, so till 2024 it was not in a functional state. Equity and access to safe water issues, marginalized communities rely heavily on the contaminated sources, while others have limited access to safer alternatives. As in the inaugural session also, the keynote speaker keynote speaker told about us the elite capture and everything. So the EDF plant, the water was also kind of the same phenomena that we find in most of the governance failure cases that was there. So and again, if people have money, then only they can go for RO systems and all. So people are completely on their own. So inconsistent mitigation, government efforts like EDF plants are poorly implemented and fail to serve all populations effectively. Burden on women and children. So people have to go. Now they know, look at the precarity of the situation. You know that water is contaminated, there is no alternative source. So the women and mostly children, the burden falls on them to collect water from the nearby river, which is something like 3.5 kilometers away. So they all go and collect it from there. So half of their day is gone. And children also miss their schools and all these kind of issues which are usually encountered. So then capacity building, I have already kind of covered this. Monitoring, Then response mechanism of fluoride contamination, lack of emergency protocol, the government department, whether they will be informing the people, whether the PhD department, they will be informing the people of our key informants interview. We found that it is completely lacking. Nobody has any idea about this. Inadequate alternatives, especially during the summer months when the pipe water supply that has been given, that is also, its capacity also reduces. So in rest of the year, if it serves something like 65% of the households during summer months, March, April, May, June. So these 4 months, basically its capacity reduces to 20% of the households. So 80% of the households again are exposed to this. Poor coordination, was found. Urgent need for preparedness, early warning systems, reliable backup, water resources, and water fluoride mitigation technologies are critical for public health protection. So this is in a spider diagram we are just showing you. So this is the performance one. Sorry, this red line is the performance, and the 5 is the best case scenario. So we can see that on none of the 6 OECD indicators, Pratapur village or the officials who are in charge of this are reaching to a satisfactory level of performance. It is all near the 0, 1, 2, maximum 3 in one of this. So this is what. So this is the EDF plan that they installed, and this is the new plan that has come through JGM, Jal Jeevan Mission. And our suggestions are, these are some of the suggestions: participation of community in water quality related meetings, and mandatory data sharing should be there. Training of LSG official, local self-government officials, and representative of VWSC, the Village Water Sanitation Committee, is a must. Village should have groundwater recharge system in place. Rainwater harvesting structure should be explored, and then that should be done. Proper water treatment system should be there. Defluoridation technique and OECD framework inspired policies training has to be there. So these are some of the observations. If there are any questions now or at the end of the session,
thank you.
More than happy to
Thank you very much. So my apologies. So let me introduce Professor Mamta Singh is with us. So she is also chairing this session. So she is Professor at Chandragupt Institute of Management, Patna. So interesting thing. I think the case that has been presented here is interesting in a sense that the question it has been raised through this. So I have a small, so this is based on some survey, some exercise, or you went there, stayed. This is village-based study, so case study based on a village. So you interacted with the.
We did the household interview, we did key informants interview.
So how many people are there in the village? Is it a small village or big village?
Big
Because
village.
60
So
people died in one day.
560 families, something like 560 families. So it is a big village basically. So something like around 3,000, a little less than 3,000 population.
So we'll
it's a
take
big
the,
village.
if there is any question.
Sir, on one hand you told that the villagers knew about the fluoride-related illness, health-related hazards. But on the other hand, you also, in the suggestion you talked about that there should be community-level participation. So if they have this awareness, so why aren't they taking such an initiative about it?
In fact, that is what makes it much more essential that they participate in other things also. I know, strangely, the government mindset is that once I make a awareness campaign, that ends my work. That's the beginning of the work. Because if I know that my water is contaminated, yet I am forced to drink it. You imagine, I can put some of the verbatim that one of the village leaders, he said that, you imagine a situation when you know that the water is contaminated, you are told that, some of the officers also say that it is all treated, but it is not treated because my children are falling ill. I know that it is contaminated, but I don't have any alternative source. So what I meant by people's participation is not on awareness alone. It is on the provision to make a complaint. If the plant is not working, then where to complain they don't know. And it is, in many of the cases, they don't know when to test, they don't have any, provision, they don't have any field testing kit at their, disposal. What is, how much of it is there, at what concentration it is there. And then thirdly, nobody is there to fix it.
So what it means is that the pure complete governance failure.
Complete governance
So there is no way to solve this unless government intervenes.
And government is not going to
So
intervene
one
unless
small question and then
know
we'll
it.
stop. So just a piece of
Yeah.
information that I'm curious about. So what is the source of this fluoride? Why is it that
It is
these
geogenic,
villages-
sir. It is geogenic. So
Geogenic.
it is basically, if I tell you, it is like a groundwater contamination. Deeper level, there are some certain rocks which are there, and then from that it is coming.
Thank you.
So it is beyond their capacity. Yes.
Is it peculiar to this village or it is nearby?
Nearby, Gadwa, if I show.
Likewise, there are many districts in
villages.
Bihar which is arsenic.
Arsenic
content
contamination. In
is
Jharkhand
very
also
high.
we have arsenic
Right.
contamination. Yes.
So ideally, people should not have stayed there, or government intervention is required to purify the water. And
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
So basically, they can go for at the
So we can
first.
discuss.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Basu, there is no way of, what can communities do on their own? After all, they've been living there for generations.
Yeah.
There was no government, even with whatever lousy governance it exists today, but
Yes.
earlier it didn't exist at all, in a sense, at the local level. What were they doing? They were doing nothing about it.
Previously, see.
Fluoride is a later day.
Yeah.
It has come into and become a problem.
To come to the
Not age
technical,
old, but-
yes, sir. To come to the technical part of it, what happened in this particular area is that some of the industry came up and the agricultural intensification happened. So for irrigation purpose, people drew a lot of water. Industry also drew a lot of water. Previously, if you look at this, it is 1.5 ppm or to 1.5 ppm is safe.
So
Beyond that, it is problematic. So what is happening is, if water is drawn away, then ppm concentration automatically is a,
Fair.
denominator is reduced.
how
So-
much can we
Yes, sir.
solve this problem through rainwater harvesting locally?
Actually, the OECD indicators also talks about working on the trade-offs. So I cannot be like promoting agriculture, promoting industry, as well as hoping that the concentration will come down automatically. So there has to be some broader level policy mechanism that has to come. The second problem that they actually are trying to address it through is through sourcing water from nearby, say water bodies or nearby river, and then supplying it to the entire village. Even the current, structure that they have, it supplies only up to 48% of the households. So rest 50% are still exposed.
What I'm saying is, I'm trying to understand this from a perspective, the elaborate technical EDF plants and all, They have a running cost too.
Yes, exactly.
Someone has to pay.
There is another mechanism, sir, which is called as bioremediation mechanism. So that has not yet been explored in Jharkhand. That is being done in Europe and some other developed countries, but somehow it is quite cheaper actually. But then that is not being done here.
What is within the community's capacity?
Community's capacity as of now is that they should be involved at least to let the authorities know that it is not working. So they can come and repair it, the first level. The second level is that they should be trained to avoid some minor kind of mishandling so that such a crucial and expensive resource collapses completely. So that is the second issue. The third issue is that they have to be consulted at least by the government so that when they come out with any kind of solution, their participation is essential. So that is what is.
Thank you, sir. So now I request Shri representing an introspection to municipal solid waste management, a doorway towards sustainable development.
Also a research scholar in St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. Today I am going to present this topic with my research guide, Dr. C. Kumar Basu. He is the Dean, PG Research Department of Commerce, St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. My topic is an introspection to municipal solid waste management, a doorway towards sustainable development. The public and environmental health of a society largely depends on an effective waste management. Rapid economic growth, industrialization, urbanization has led to increase in urban population, which ultimately leads to increase in solid waste generation. More than 2 billion tons of solid waste are generated per year from the household and commercial use, and it is expected to rise to 3.8 billion tons per year by the end of 2050. Solid waste management, it is a crucial task of the government, within which municipal solid waste management is the responsibility of the municipal authority of an urban area. It has become very challenging for the local authorities or urban local bodies to supply and uphold a development infrastructure for the growing population. Many organizations like OECD, World Bank, WHO, all are working on solid waste management by conducting research, formulating policies, producing waste statistics, and they are developing methodologies on solid waste management. However, in India we have solid waste management rules 2016 as issued by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and also we have solid waste management manual as issued by Ministry of Urban Development. Now, coming to the background of the study, here I have given the definition of solid waste as given by the Central Pollution Control Board of India. Solid waste includes various kind of wastes like household waste, commercial waste, biomedical waste, e-waste or battery waste, but basically municipal solid waste includes only household wastes and waste from trade businesses and also hospitals, office buildings, which is collected by and on behalf of the municipal authorities of an area. And by the term municipal authority, we explain municipalities, municipal corporation, Nagar Palika, Nagar Nigam, also any kind of notified area councils, and all other local authorities that are established under the applicable laws of the state or country. Now, in India, basically the solid waste management was focused in the year 1990 when some public interest litigation came up in front of Supreme Court, and Supreme Court ordered the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change to issue the municipal solid waste managing and handling rules, which were issued in the year 1999. From there, 2005, Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission was taken up by the Government of India, which was the largest urban initiative, And in 2008, National Urban Sanitation Policy introduced, which was again on the solid waste management. And 2014, Government of India took Swachh Bharat Mission also to take various reforms in the sector of solid waste management. 2016, the MOEFCC revised the existing rules of 2000 and renamed it as Solid Waste Management Rule 2016. Now, I have done few of the literature review which I have given chronologically latest to earliest, and in all the literature review, some are done in India, some have done in international, but they all have focused some challenges that the local bodies or municipalities faces and the solution that they have taken. Now, objective of the study, to study the trends of the municipal solid waste management in terms of total waste generation, per capita waste generation and treatment of the solid waste, to review the present scenario in India and identify the gap of municipal solid waste management, to identify the challenges faced by the local authorities and also few best practices adopted by them, and to suggest some viable pathways for an efficient municipal solid waste management. Basically, it is the study has been done descriptive in nature, and all the secondary sources of information were used. The data basically collected from OECD Data Explorer and the annual reports of Central Pollution Control Board of India. Now, coming to the analysis, the first figure shows that the projected waste generation, the data has been collected from World Bank report, and here we can see that most of the world's waste is generated about 23% from Asia and Pacific region, whereas 6% only generated from Middle East or North Africa. Basically, this is a projection up to year 2050. From this table, we can see that total waste generated from household and other municipal waste, and here we have seen that in America, the highest percentage of waste has been generated for the last 10 years, which is 12.63, and the lowest one is in Asia and Oceania, that is 4.16%. Now, coming to the per capita waste generation, we know that China is the largest producer of municipal waste. However, in United States of America, they generate the highest per capita waste due to some lack of recycling standards. They have a disproportionate location of landfills. That may be the possible reason of their highest per capita waste production. But if we see in Japan, they have achieved a reduction in consumption. They have taken some initiative to reduce the consumption, and they have some strict recycling regulation. So they are able to reduce their waste drastically. This figure shows the trends in solid waste management and the treatment of solid waste management. Now, treatment involves two kinds of operation. One is recovery operation, one is disposal operation. Recovery operation includes recycling, composting, decomposting, whereas disposal operation includes landfills and incineration. But from the figure, we can see that almost 33% of the total waste generated are openly dumped. That means there is no scientific method of dumping or treating that waste. So that is a concern for the for environment. Next is the percentage of treated waste, that is the recovery operation done. And this table shows that in Europe we can see there is a steady treatment of solid waste, that is from 62% it increased to 72%. But in America and Asia, they have faced a fluctuation in case of treatment of solid waste. Now, the municipal solid waste scenario in India, as I already told, that we have solid waste management rules 2016, and in case of India, the municipal authorities, they require some authorization from the State Pollution Control Board and Pollution Control Committees to develop and to process the waste processing system. So whatever data they collect from the ground They submit it to the State Pollution Control Board, and compiling all the reports from the all municipal authorities, the State Pollution Control Board submits their report to the Central Pollution Control Board of India. And with the annual report of Central Pollution Control Board of the latest year, that is 21-22, the solid waste generated was 1,70,339 ton per day, but the waste collected is 1,56,449 ton per day. 91,511 ton per day was treated, that is, which is almost 54%. That shows a good figure in India regarding the waste treatment. In India, the per capita waste generation is 123.45 grams per day, and we can see that in some of the cities like city and union territory, Delhi, Chandigarh, Mizoram, Nagaland, they generate a high per capita waste, whereas Meghalaya, Bihar, Assam, Odisha, they generate a lesser amount of per capita waste. However, the per capita waste generation has been showing an increasing trend for the last 5 years. Now here is the percentage of treatment of solid waste state-wise in India. Now as I already told that 54% of waste generation is being treated, and the unprocessed waste is almost 22%. However, there is a gap. The gap is nothing but the difference between waste generated and waste treated. The gap is reducing for the last 5 years, which is a good trend. The state like Lakshadweep, Chhattisgarh, Andaman, Dadra, Nagar Haveli, in those states the waste treatment is higher, whereas in Arunachal Pradesh, Chandigarh, Nagaland, Puducherry, they process lesser amount of wastes. Challenges faced. The first challenge that the state face is the gap. Gap is the difference between the waste collection and the waste treatment. Now, the gap is a real challenge because the municipal authority have to, there are a lot of financial and administrative factors that work, and the municipal authority do not get all the financial assistance from the state and central. They need to depend for the financial assistance from the state government and central government, so they are not able to process all the waste that are generated from the urban area, because it involves huge cost and also it needs manpower. So that is one of the most important challenges that the states face. Next is the advanced technology for processing solid waste like composting, decomposting, vermicomposting, biomethanization. All these are process. These involves huge technology, advanced technology, and for that also huge cost is required. Another challenge is that the improper data management system, because the local authorities, they do not have that database management system and manpower as well, so they cannot they cannot provide the accurate data to the State Pollution Control Board. And while compiling all the data from the municipal authority, the State Pollution Control Board submits to the Central Pollution Control Boards, which are far from ground realities, and on the basis of that, when the annual reports are made by the Central Pollution Control Board, that becomes erroneous. Now I have given here few of the best practices, like some of the states, they have 100% door-to-door collection. They have the segregate of solid waste at source. Like Andaman Nicobar, they are going for binless or garbage-free state. Like in Bihar, they have identified 3 cities as model towns and cities. Chhattisgarh, they have taken initiative.
You can sum up us.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, sure. So these are few best practices, and the conclusion. Coming to the conclusion that in our the poor waste management involves huge cost. So most of the countries, they are approaching towards circular economy, which will focus on the zero waste approach. And also the solid waste management is now being called as sustainable solid waste management, which focuses on integrated solid waste management and focuses on 3 factors of environmental health, environment and resource management. ULBs are focusing on 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. Here I have given a waste hierarchy which will explain the order of managing waste, which includes prevention, reduction, reuse and recycling. Here are the few recommendations. The ULBs should review and analyze the details in all the rules and policy that are in force. Then a thorough evaluation of existing situation they need to do and identify the gaps and take necessary actions. Then the MSWM, that is a municipal solid waste management, depends on the technical and managerial expertise. So recruitment of skilled labor is required, and sometimes imposing user charge could be an effective tool for municipal solid waste management, where the waste generators need to pay for the waste collection and its safe disposal. These are the references I have taken from articles and reports. Thank you.
To start with, as data shows that there is increasing trend of waste generation over time, and at the same time the graph, it says that the proportion of waste being treated is coming down. So there are 2 things. One is that the increasing level of waste is being generated, and at the same time a higher proportion of that waste is being treated. But when we combine this with the information that the municipalities who are responsible, or the local bodies who are responsible for treating these wastes have limitations, financial limitations.
Yes.
Now, given that there are limitations in terms of finances, so what are the things that can be done? So one is that awareness at the household level or something like that. So did this study examine in that dimension or?
No sir, not in details, but one thing that we have during the study, for the financial assistance, the municipal authority need to depend on the state and central government. That they cannot help without them. But the thing is that yes, some involvement of the local people or the students, that can be done.
Awareness
programs can be done, which will
there
help.
is some feedback and questions. So.
No, I have a methodological question to you. I mean, it's not a question, it's a comment you may like to incorporate.
Yes.
Treatment is not safe disposal. Treatment is a intermediate stage which can lead to safe disposal. For example, I can make compost, but if the compost is not actually used on a field,
Yes.
it is not safely disposed. It becomes a source of pollution if it's just lying heaped up somewhere, right?
Correct.
Agreed?
Yes.
So 54% treatment is a problematic figure in your work. You are relying on what the dashboard is reporting as treated by municipal bodies.
Yes, sir.
Are they able to safely dispose it? My work for 30 years on municipal solid waste for the last 25 years shows no. No municipality is actually able to dispose of the compost which it makes sometimes. Even the statement that they are making it is usually
Yes,
wrong.
sir, sure.
It
Yes.
is erroneous.
One more thing, sir, as you have suggested, I am also one of the co-authors, just to answer your questions. So that's why we have suggested the recycling of that question. So that is also-
I'm just starting by saying that making a statement that this is an increasing trend, treatment is an improvement over time, is erroneous. Treatment does not mean safe disposal. The final goal of public health is achieved only when you dispose safely, not treat.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that is a problem number 1. Number 2, what are the routes to safe disposal? Different kinds of waste have different ultimate safe disposal
Yes.
aims. You cannot club them and say everything, safe disposal occurs in the same way. Babies' diapers or nappies, don't even think of it as a major issue. But the only study I've seen on the net says it could be 6% of municipal solid waste. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's huge. It's a biomedical waste which is being mixed everywhere and dumped anywhere. The safe disposal cannot occur by simply putting it in a landfill or treating it like any other. It is a biomedical waste. It must finally, in the best order of things, be incinerated like any other biomedical waste. But it will not be. We know that. So what are we doing about it is a separate question. I'm not going into that. I'm just saying, as academics, if we are trying to do a study, we need to bring out very clearly what is wrong with the current systems more than anything else. That it doesn't even recognize that there are different ways to achieve safe disposal for different. So inerts, debris have different ways of safe disposal. No municipality is actually practicing it, of how to treat inerts and debris, etc., as something which can be safely disposed
Sir,
by.
it is also not mentioned in Swachh Bharat mission. It is also not mentioned.
Exactly.
So,
So
how it can,
let
that
me
is-
start
that is
questioning.
yes.
Let me start
Yes.
questioning policy.
Interesting. This is
Let
the
me
timing,
not,
sir.
as academics, I must
That we have to
question
start
policy,
questioning.
not say, I'm taking this program for granted, this is what it says, and I'm studying this within that. No. I've got to start questioning it from the beginning and say, is this even studying the problem? Is that the problem? That for 30 years we are not even studying the problem properly? All our data on waste generation comes from what is put on the dashboard by
Yes.
local bodies. If they are not putting it on the dashboard, I have no figures.
I have
I
mentioned that.
actually have no credible data in this country on what is my waste generation
Yes, sir.
and in terms of the different categories of waste.
Exactly, it is mentioned.
Lack of
Categories.
accurate data, yes.
The different categories, I don't even know how much is debris, how much is mixed waste. Now, what am I going to do with mixed waste? It doesn't fall in either organic waste or it doesn't fall in. I mean, all of you been to airports. What are the two
what I
dabbas
said-
you see in the
Yes,
airport?
sir.
Dry
Green,
waste,
green, yes.
wet waste.
Yes.
Huh?
Excuse me,
Most
sir.
waste
Sir,
is mixed waste.
sir. So
There's nowhere to put it in.
So yeah, so I think that you
Yeah.
have another dimension, and with the suggestions, and you can continue discussion with sir. And
Sure.
if you share your contact details with me. Interesting suggestions, sir. I believe that these are the things which will improve your paper, and as he has said that these are the micro aggregate based analysis that you have presented, but the why, how, and all those things can be incorporated the ADS. So thank you very much. So now we have limited time, so we have limited time. So what I request Zahra Adil. So she has a paper on titled Recent Trends and Challenges in Human Resource Management. So we have 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Zahra. I am assistant professor in American Group of Institute at Patna. The area of my study is recent trends and challenges in human resource management, literature review perspective. There are so many trends in human resource management, but I have included only two, that is in the introduction of AI and automation and hybrid work, job flexibility. Because we all know that the technology advancement encompasses like outsourcing, international hiring. It affects the working models like gig economy, remote work, or work from home, or job flexibility. So this article mainly achieved two objectives. First, to offer the summary of significant advancement in human resource management, and second, to highlight the main challenges faced in HRM along with its role in addressing significant trends. The research study has descriptive approach. Secondary data has been utilized for the literature review, and text mining tool has been used. This is the literature review earlier, where the number of researcher has done the study on trends in human resource management, especially related to introduction of AI and automation, and the challenges and the effects on the employees and in the organization as well, related to the activities of HRM. Descriptive approach has been utilized by all these researchers to understand the challenges faced by the trends in HRM. The AI and automation in HRM is an important, the introduction in the HRM field, because it assists in recruitment process, filtration of, candidate and screening and selection and all these parts. Now the part of HRM has been so many have been utilized in the absence of especially the physical appearance of human resource, in the absence of that. And furthermore, the chatbots and AI-based HR system are also improving employee engagement by offering immediate assistance for inquiries like leave management and like payroll and all this for the employee engagement purposes. AI in human resource management has its ability to enhance operational efficiency, time-based reducing cost effectiveness, all this, and especially the decision making on the basis of data by carefully examining the large data set for further activities and developing strategies for human resource. The challenges for the faced by the HRM in regard with AI is that there is a privacy of data because it works on a large database. So there can be bias in the decision as well on the basis of race, gender, skills, and some other features which is required to utilize in AI process. There can be possible job reduction as well because there is none of the more requirement for human resources. So there can be a chance of the fear as well among people who are working in organizations of the loss of the job. So, and again, the large data set that encompasses sensitive information about the employees, which threat data privacy and security. The second trends I have involved in my study is the hybrid work or job flexibility, which is the recent trends in HRM, and it is a demand actually of a recent scenario just for the balance of work and life. So current trends in human resource highlights that hybrid work is likely to become permanent because post-COVID, most of the companies have implemented the job flexibility and especially in the banking sector as well, where work from home is not, the nature of work does not permit. Still they are utilizing and by programming those works so that they could perform staying at home. Company can overcome the geographical boundaries, means there are very so much benefits for the job flexibility or hybrid work, remote work, whatever. So the time means we can hire and we can enroll those employees who are not geographically possible to reach on the particular location. The transformation from traditional office work have created obviously the work-life balance. These all the I have mentioned on the basis of literature review, the part which I am saying. The challenges is that if we are working at home, we can face the feeling of isolation, and apart from that, controlling will become a very big challenge. That how they are like how we can calculate the contribution part of the employee. Okay. So the conclusion of my study is that incorporation of technology and hybrid work is a demand of the recent scenario, but there is some challenges where the companies and employee face, because employee can have a fear of the job loss, so they cannot perform well and there can be barrier of the implementation of the AI automation and the hybrid, especially the AI automation and the introduction of technology advancement. And especially if they're working at home, the people who are working at home, hybrid work is just not about working at home. There is an opportunity of the job flexibility because it means they can select the time, hours and location of work. So actually this is not completely applicable in India, but a part of it where the selected work can be performed at home. Some companies, especially in IT companies, they are providing these facilities post-COVID. But still, some of the organization employee are, as I said, that in the contradiction, means they are means not so much comfortable by the introduction of technology. It happens. So it is important for the it can be emphasized by that a suitable organization culture is evenly essential for the effective integration of technology. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. So my understanding is that this is the paper which tries to bring out evidences from the existing set of literature exactly.
Yes.
So what you have tried to convey to us is that the recent trend is like this introduction
There
of
are
AI.
so many trends recently have
the
been
point is
introduced,
that
but yeah.
this kind of a study could be useful if we could identify the corners which has not been yet captured by the existing set of literature that will open up further research.
Yes,
So
yes.
have you looked into that direction or something that this set of papers are not looking at? There are the questions which are not being addressed. So if you do that, that will be valuable. So if there is any quick question, sir.
There is one question.
Yes, sir.
You have mentioned out like you have conducted a text mining.
Yes.
So how you have conducted and
Yes, because so that secondary data has been utilized. So I have approached the journals and the Google scholars. If you will just put the keywords, so on the base of that you will find out the trends. That what are the trends are going on. So the trends of there are so many other trends as well. But I have opted for my study, especially on the deeper go for the literature review for AI and hybrid also.
so have you used any kind of software like
No. I just approached the Google scholars.
So at present AI is sufficient for literature review.
No, not that. I am not included all those, sir.
No,
Yeah, that's right.
It
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
interesting if you could
Yes.
figure out some corners where further research could be
Okay.
identified.
Yes,
and done.
thank
So
you.
thank you. So next, online.
Namaskar, Adab. First of all, I would like to thank organizing committee of this conference on public policy management. It gives me immense pleasure to talk something important about importance of society on my motherland. I used to present papers throughout the year on national and international forum. So when I got this opportunity to talk in Bihar, with the kind permission of chairman and co-chair, I will not present only in English, not in Hindi, but in English, if it is possible then. So the topic of my presentation is the nexus between climate change and public health, a national overview with perspective of Bihar. And my introduction was that I am a superintendent in RCD. Basically I am engineer, but I have interest in research and in management. This is my background, and this is my flow of presentation. Obviously, introduction, then climate change and greenhouse gas effect. We should know background on global climate change and public health, how it affects public health, then likely nexus between climate change and human health, research on the health impacts of climate change, what are the research area, and what research should go on in this field. Obviously, as the topic indicates, we should know about the climate profile of India and Bihar, climate sensitive issue, disease in the state, initiative taken by the state, strategy and suggestion, then conclusion. As the flow of presentation shows, it is not possible in 10 minutes. So just I will give you the overview and skip this slide,
So what
if it is possible.
What I suggest is that you can yes,
Conclusion and initiative.
No, not conclusion. You can share the objective of this study. So why
Yes.
this study was done, how
Okay.
this study was done, and what
Okay.
are the findings.
Okay.
So, and then we can discuss.
Okay. Actually, the study basis of this study that climate change and human health. I have done a lot of research work in the field of climate change because basically being a civil engineer, I have interest to know how our activities impact climate change, or how our direct or indirect contribution, human beings' contribution, is increasing the greenhouse gas emission, which is the key driver of climate change. For example, people are running after facilities. We are widening and strengthening road structure. We are creating concrete sub-jungles. But at the same time, we do not know that 1 ton of cement is imposing 1 ton of carbon dioxide load in the atmosphere. So, our activities, another example I am going to give, that non-motorized transport. It was all the parts of the presentation, but until unless there is an informed or unified national transport policy, we can't reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Construction activity and transportation, in which I have lots of papers published in different journals and conference proceedings. From that, I have taken the points, then literature review, then interaction with society. All these things I have tried to bring a conclusion mode that what is the impact of what is climate change, how it impacts human health, and being in the intellectual society, what are our duties. Only to talk something in this closed classroom, conference is going on around the year, but how this knowledge will go up to the grassroots level of society. Being an engineer, I want to focus. First of all, this construction activity and transport, I am basically related to these two activities. So I will urge this August gathering that we should not go for concrete jungles. We should adapt eco-friendly materials. If you want to, our health will not be impacted by climate change until unless we reduce greenhouse gas emission. For that, if every people will contribute something, the scenario of climate change will completely change. Suppose low-cost housing. If you are constructing low-cost housing, because 1% of housing is apartment culture. 99% house in India are low-cost housing. They are not able to construct double or three-story building. If you are going to reduce low-cost material, eco-friendly material, we can reduce greenhouse gas emission, or we can control the greenhouse emission. In that way, we can going to reduce the impact of climate change. If we are going to reduce the greenhouse emission, ultimately the scenario of climate change will change, and our future generation will be safe. The next thing, fly ash green. We are seeing in thermal power plants, we are seeing that black dust is flowing in the atmosphere, and by the side of thermal power plants, huge dust is accumulating, and that is going to create human health problem, asthma, then different types of mental problems. It has been coming to light that the peoples who are residing by the side of thermal power plants, the children of those peoples are very weak in math. So though many research papers are lying in the Googles and journals, we can see that climate change is affecting in a very big way. Infectious disease and so many diseases they are. So our motto, being the intellectual of the society or being the engineer of the society, we should reduce the greenhouse gas emission by adapting climate resilient construction technology, climate resilient practices, climate resilient transport, not resistant. Again, I am going to focus, there is a difference between resistance and resilient. We have to adjust. We have to adjust with this climate change, and accordingly, we should change our practices. Then we can contribute to society, and our future generation will be safe. If I want to show, it is there are a number of slides. Simply skipping and show some figures how I have made the presentation.
We have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Then this is greenhouse gas effect. We all know this is effects. Then background on global climate change. There is important data. CO2 emission and the rise in global surface temperature since 1850 is an increasing trend. You can see from this figure. From 1850 to 1900, we can see on y-axis the increase in temperature and x-axis gigaton of CO2 emission. By the end of 2050, we can see that 4,000-5,000 gigaton CO2 is going to meet, and increase in temperature will be 2 to 5 degrees centigrade. This is background on global climate change on public health. This is important data. 250,000 deaths per year between 2000 to 2050. It has been estimated. This composed of malnutrition 95,000, malaria, this one, diarrhea 48,000, heat stress 38,000. Certainly, climate change is a global health emergency. These are the effects of climate change. This is nexus between climate change and human health. There is another diagram how the health risk affected, vulnerability factors and exposures.
Previous slide.
Yes.
So you have created this slide.
No. I have got somewhere this pictures.
What is the source?
Source I could not write, but there is a source.
So what we
In the full length of paper I have sent in the CIMP. Yes.
So it will be immediately attracted by the
Climate change. Pardon
It will
me?
be attracted by the similarity check. You are talking about similarity check. The software immediately it will point out. So that is, you have to mention the sources.
I have already mentioned in the full length of paper.
presentation also mention what it is.
Yes. This is climate change impact on human mortality. Research. This is important thing. There should be 3 areas of research: current association between climate and disease, the effect of recent change in climate, and the evidence based for projecting the future impacts of climate change. If you can divide it in 2 parts: empirical studies and predictive modeling. Empirical studies learn from past, detect present, and set futures. Has observed climate change already been affecting human health? Yes. Flood droughts and climate profile of India, I need not discuss much. There are 4 seasons in our country: winter, summer, monsoon and post-monsoon. It has been seen that during winter season there is a decreasing trend of rainfall, and in monsoon increasing trend of rainfall. This is my climate profile of my state. Also, it is the climate is a hot and humid subtropical with hot and humid summer, mild winter and a monsoon season. The things, this is due to climate change effects, the natural disaster also. This is earthquake mapping of our state. This is drought mapping. This is cyclone affected districts of state. This is flood prone area of Bihar. Disaster. What is Indian scenario? 59% vulnerable to earthquake, 28% drought, 12% floods and 80% to cyclones. If you come to our state, 100% earthquake, 48% drought, 73% floods and 27% of cyclones. These are flood consequences in northern Bihar. These are the climate sensitive issues. These type of disease we are feeling in our state. So need for urgent action is to promote climate action that both reduce carbon emission and improve health, build better, more climate resilient and environmentally sustainable health system, protect health from the wide range of impacts of climate change, capacity building and raising awareness. This is the most important aspect where our state government is giving focus. Initiative taken by the state. These are the initiatives that our state government has taken. Bihar government had developed a state action plan on climate change. Then it established a state task force. These are the state has planned following activities to raise awareness, create awareness, enhance state preparedness, integrate and develop synergy with all other related departments. Then these are some 10 components a state has also identified: leadership and governance, health workforce, vulnerability, capacity and adaptation assessment, integrated risk monitoring and early warning, health and climate research, climate resilient and sustainable technology infrastructure, management of environmental health determinants, climate informed health programs, emergency preparedness and management, and climate and health finance. So health adaptation plan for climate sensitive illness would be early warning system and interagency emergency response plans, public awareness, capacity building, promoting short and long term adaptation. These are the these are coming in the papers and TV program also. लू एंड गर्म हवाओं से बचें, वायु प्रदूषण.
एक काम करते हैं सर, this is very, there are so many things into.
So I come to thank you.
No,
ultimately.
So yeah, so if there.
So ultimately the final point, the last my.
So why is this thank you or not thank you?
Sir, thank you.
Why is it you?
Thank you.
It can be.
Thank you. It is thank you. So मैं अपने बात को समाप्त करना चाहता हूँ कि हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, इस हिमालय से भी कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए, सिर्फ लेक्चर देना ही मेरा मकसद नहीं, सारी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए. सो हम लोग का कंट्रीब्यूशन अगर एक आदमी थोड़ा थोड़ा कंट्रीब्यूट करें, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज इज गोइंग टू रिड्यूस. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
This is the message of your
message of my presentation.
So now, concluding slide or any recommendations, because climate change and health they are very intimately connected.
जी जी.
So yeah, this conclusion.
वो मैंने कंक्लूजन मैं शुरू में ही जब बताया था कि बहुत बड़ा प्रेजेंटेशन है तो बताया था कि हम लोग का कंक्लूजन ये होना चाहिए कि हम लोग क्लाइमेट चेंज को रिड्यूस करने की दिशा में हम लोग का एफर्ट होना चाहिए ग्रीन हाउस गैस को कैसे रिड्यूस करें. उसके लिए जो जहाँ पर हम उतना काम करेंगे तो समाज का बहुत भलाई हो जाएगा. जैसे बीइंग एन इंजीनियर, I should promote wherever I am going to give lecture, I am giving focus on eco-friendly materials, sustainable materials. अगर आप कंक्रीट के तुलना में अगर फ्लाई ऐश को यूज करते हैं और उसके बदले में ग्रेनुलर ग्लास स्लैब को यूज करते हैं, उसके जगह पर आप मोटार कंपोजिट को यूज करते हैं, certainly going to reduce this greenhouse gas. Only one source, अगर हमारा एक्टिविटी is going to reduce greenhouse gas emission, certainly climate change will change. जैसे ट्रांसपोर्ट पॉलिसी है तो ट्रांसपोर्ट पॉलिसी के हम लोग करना है कि हम लोग वाइडनिंग एंड स्ट्रेंथनिंग ऑफ रोड कर रहे हैं, उसके बदले हम लोग नॉट मोटराइज्ड ट्रांसपोर्ट को बढ़ावा देना चाहिए. हम लोग जितने फैसिलिटी के पीछे भाग रहे हैं, एसी को यूज कर रहे हैं उसको कम करना चाहिए. वो सारी चीज़ों पर हम लोग फोकस देना चाहिए जो ग्रीन हाउस गैस इमिशन को कम करे. Then only we can reduce the impact of climate change. Otherwise, future generation is not going to forgive us. Thank you very much.